Morning, 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 morning.
Morning!
Paul. Welcome. Welcome, a gentle, lovely welcome.
Sunday chat!
Jesus. Paul, that was a bit excessive.
Yeah, but I thought I'd better get it in because I forgot to get it in last week.
You always forget to get it in. Anyway, welcome to the show, which as you now know is called
Sunday chat!
Yes, and news just in. Apparently, has taken over bloody as the UK's most favourite swear word.
Really?
Yes.
Gosh, I'm amazed at that. I wouldn't have thought anyone would give a piss, really.
Can't say that, Paul. Anyway.
Can't I?
No, you can't.
Oh,
terrible, terrible, Paul. So yeah, I mean, it is used a lot.
It is.
Isn't it? I mean, in 100
is.
years' time, it will just be used in literature
It already is.
all the time.
Oh,
but
right,
every
okay.
day.
Yeah.
I mean, the classic poems will have it inserted into it.
Yes, because nobody will give a.
No, I wondered. Lonely as a cloud. Huh?
Should the emphasis be on the lonely or the cloud?
No, the
Oh, right, fair enough.
Yes, can you imagine? Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him well. I think
Actually,
it adds a little spice. Spicy.
It does. It does. I've also just been reading one of my friends who's a theatre and opera photographer has just put I think it was in the Telegraph or something. It's the programme or something about Romeo and Juliet. I think at the Globe is telling the audience that Romeo and Juliet don't really die at the end.
What?
That they're only actors.
What?
I mean,
What?
can you believe that? Isn't that ludicrous?
But it's a play.
It's a play, yes. You know, if you spent gazillion pounds to go and see Romeo and Juliet or any play and you don't really know, it's not real.
But, I mean, you know, they've been doing that for kids for years, haven't they? Before Peter Pan. Remember, children, only Peter Pan can fly.
I thought only Peter Pan could live forever.
But he can fly.
Oh, was that to stop children jumping out windows pretending to fly?
Yes, Paul, that's right.
There we are. Who knew? I didn't know that.
Yeah, because flying is one of those things, isn't it? I mean, I still have dreams about flying.
Right.
Do you?
I suppose so, yes.
Oh, I love it when you dream about flying and you wake up.
You love it when I dream about
I
flying.
love it when I dream about
Oh,
flying. Because I can't see your dreams, Paul.
Well, I can't see my dreams either because it's all internalised in your brain.
But when I dream about flying, own it, Richard, own it. When I dream about flying, for those first few minutes of waking up, you kind of think, oh, I left the window open.
What, you think I left the window open?
Yes, and I might fly out. No.
Yes.
For those first few minutes, you believe you can fly. You kind of feel it's real.
We could go into a song then.
You get those wonderful sensations of, oh my God, I can fly. It's true. All I need to do is think of happy things.
And then you need to go and have a wee.
Paul, I'm rising off the chair. And then you need to have a wee.
Yeah.
Oh God,
then you need to have a wee and
you
you
just
realise
know-
you can't fly.
You just know how to bring the mood down, Paul, don't you? You just do it every time.
Yes, I do.
God. Honestly.
I had a dream last night.
Did you? Good. Your brain's
I did,
working.
yeah.
Great.
Yeah, because that's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's your brain shuffling things into compartments to remember.
Sorting out the day's debris.
Well, the day's memories.
Yeah,
isn't
because
it?
your brain can't actually absorb and process everything that it's taken in. I mean, if you think about it, you're like a video camera that's permanently on.
Yeah. apart from when you got your eyes shut.
But yeah, this is it.
But then you got your ears open, so your brain's still taking in
it
things
is, but
in
not
your
as
ears.
much as the visual.
And touch as well, because I can feel. Oh.
Well, everything you experience is happening there.
Yeah.
Everything. Isn't that strange if you really think about it? Because we believe in this world that's around us, that we can see, hear, touch, taste and smell. Is that everything? Yeah.
And burp. You burp then.
No, it wasn't burp. It was a gas.
What was it?
It was a gas. Paul. Everything is happening in there. Everything.
I often think.
No exceptions.
I often think about colour. Because there is no way that I know of to tell whether when I see that green ivy out there,
It's the same green that I'm seeing.
it's the same green that he's seeing.
You don't always think about colour, otherwise you wouldn't have worn this orange when I'm wearing a deep burgundy.
I think you'll find that I've been wearing this all week.
Yeah. Anyway.
You look a bit like a sort of like a Parisian painter today. Or a fop. Maybe a fop, an English fop.
That's because I bring style, quality, value to the show.
I bring style. It's just different.
You just didn't bring it into the room. It's out there still. Let's get on with the blooming show,
My
Paul.
style is always around the corner. Yeah.
Let's get on with the show, Paul. Now, we've got some thank yous to say.
We do.
We've got some hellos to say.
Have we?
Yes, we have. We had an email from Auntie Ethel. And Auntie Ethel lives at the Bidewee Rest Home for the Clinically Insane. And Auntie Ethel would like us to say hello, or she'll use our sinews as embroidery. Morning, Auntie Ethel.
Morning, Auntie Ethel. I do like Bidewee. Where's that come from, though?
Bidewee, it means stay a while.
But where?
Squattash.
But where is it?
What am I referencing,
Yes.
you mean, Paul? You don't give away your references, you let people work those out.
Oh, right, okay.
Paul.
It's something to do with Fenella, though.
There is a reference in one of those films.
There is.
So thank you, Auntie Ethel, for that. And thank you to Faith for our lovely gifts. This is gift number 1 for Paul's birthday. Beautiful picture. Picture number 2 in the series.
Picture number 2. I think we've had... Last year, I think Faith sent
Gorgeous,
us
isn't it?
autumn, and this is spring.
It's lovely, isn't
So there's
it?
4 in the season. 4 in the series. Because there's 4 seasons.
Lovely. Thank
But
you
I
so
love
much.
that. I mean, it's so obviously spring. Apart from the purple sprouting broccoli, which I can't really grow.
And I'm going to be
That's
opening
lovely.
my present on the 13th of September. Yes, that's the 13th of September. My birthday.
It is.
I'll be 39.
Again.
So, lovely. And welcome, B-L-O-O-D-Y, welcome. I don't know why I'm still spelling that. Report me. Just report me. I don't mind. I don't care.
But you're actually, it's now a part of history, isn't it? Because you're trying to keep the linguistic heritage of our country going.
Yeah, some people don't like it. Oh,
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, it's dropped to something like 136 occurrences per 1 million words. That's what it's dropped to.
Thank you, Paul. I didn't understand what that meant, but it was lovely. So thank you, bloody thank you.
And
What?
also, Faith gave us a little naughty,
We love the coaster.
naughty coaster.
Faith,
as
I've
well.
sent you a little message on that thing. What's it called? Messenger.
Messenger.
I sent you a little message. Thank you. So thank you to new subscribers who've joined us recently. Join us. And new followers on Instagram too, where we post regularly little snaps and shots of our lives. Lives.
Was that supposed to echo?
What else are we on? Facebook, Richard and Paul, and also Planet Vegetaria. That's a Facebook group by Richard and Paul. Richard and Paul since 2017. That's contractual. We're also on Coffee as well, where you can buy us a coffee. And we have a lovely, lovely group of supporters. And on that coffee page, we post exclusive podcasts only for coffee supporters. And there's quite a few on there already. You scroll back.
Is that Cher?
No.
Was that Barbara Streisand?
No.
Was it Ludwig Kennedy?
It wasn't anybody, it was me.
Oh, was it? Oh,
me.
right. Okay.
So that's it. Oh, there's planes.
The plane! There's quite a lot of planes. Well, I suppose it's all getting back to normal, isn't it, really?
There have been quite a few planes recently, Paul.
However, I was on a train yesterday, the Heathrow Connect, between Paddington and Heathrow. It connects Paddington to Heathrow.
That's why it's called Connect. Yeah.
And it was empty. When I came back, it was pretty empty as well. Yeah.
So we'll talk about that later. A little trip that Paul had out and about, didn't you, Paul?
I did.
On a train. Lovely.
Well, it was 4 trains actually.
Because
I had to change twice, and I went there and then I went back. But of course, I don't know whether the trains I came back on were exactly the same trains that I went on. So it could have been 3 trains. Well, 2 trains, or 3 trains, or 4 trains. It's quite fascinating, really.
Is this meant to be funny?
No, it's factual.
Yeah, well, it's factual, but it's certainly not entertaining, Paul.
No, it's factual.
This is not a train spotters channel, is it?
No.
So, yeah, so nobody's finding that interesting.
Okay, that's fine.
Please bring it to an end now.
I finished.
I've forgotten what I was saying now because you put me in a coma.
Well, should we go back? Should I start talking about what I was talking about before, and then maybe it'll jog your memory?
No, maybe we'll just carry on with the list.
Oh, right, yeah, okay.
Of things. We're doing the weather now.
The weather!
Yes, it's weather time. Weather time with Richard and Paul.
Shouldn't we have a thing behind us?
I'd love to do that. I would love to do that one day. Get the green screen out.
Yeah, we could do that.
Do a little map and do the weather.
We could do the naughty places in the UK.
Oh, there's quite a few. There's a guy at the moment doing a journey on a bike.
Yeah, he's cycling.
And he's going through all the
naughty
places. Like, that was a van.
That was a big van. I'm going to cough.
Butthole Lane and Twat.
Yeah.
Places like that. Those are place names.
Bottom Alley.
Yeah, there's also there's a C word one as well, isn't there?
There is. There's lots. There's lots.
So weather, August. We've said it before. We'll say it again. It's really rubbish weather. It's a typical British August.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Look, I don't know about you, but when I was a child, a few years ago.
What, like 29 years ago?
Yes. Whenever we went on holiday, my parents always usually complained.
Always, usually. You can't use those two things together. It's either always or usually. It's unique.
I just have. What's going to stop me doing that?
The word police.
Well, they're not here, so usually, very often...
That's acceptable.
My parents would complain that the weather was terrible. And we would sit in the caravan, colouring in and reading.
Colouring in the caravan?
For the best part of 2 weeks.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Oh, yeah. People who live in Anglesey will agree that once that Anglesey drizzle comes in, it can be there for days.
But you see, we used to have good downpours in Guernsey and thunder and lightning. Rarely, but when it was big. But we had hot, warm summers.
Yeah.
And this is not a typical August. This
Paul,
is a wet,
Paul,
grey August.
Paul,
Richard.
Paul, that was Guernsey.
Well, yes, it
Right
was.
down here in the south. Anglesey is up north in the Irish Sea. Different condition. Totally different. Guernsey is well known for having so many thousand hours a year of sunshine. Nearly 2,000 hours a year.
There's actually somebody has been a holiday reviewer in one of the most awful newspapers in the UK and around the world called the Daily Mail. Has visited the Channel Islands, in fact Guernsey and Sarkenholm, and said how wonderful they are.
Right.
It's awful. It's in such an awful rag, though, obviously.
It doesn't matter, it's advertising, isn't it?
Well, it's not advertising, it's editorial.
But anyway, well, it's advertising Guernsey, though, isn't
Well,
it?
it's promoting, I would say. I wouldn't say it's advertising.
Let's
Because in my book,
now.
you see, advertising is paid for.
Let's move on.
Where editorial isn't. Of course, it is paid for journalistically with people writing things.
Is this Paul's Sunday chat then? This
Sunday chat! I was just filling in while you were drinking your coffee, that's all.
Weather. August, terrible.
The weather has been
Overcast.
completely unusual to August, with more grey weather and wet weather than usual. Sunny spells, blue skies, white clouds, grey clouds, black clouds,
Yeah, okay.
sunsets,
No,
sunrises.
there have been some really poor sunsets, though.
Well, Vivi posted a really nice sunrise this morning.
Okay. If you're in a talkative mood, Paul, why don't you now talk about your trip?
So I went on a train
Make it
journey
interesting.
yesterday. So yes, I went to Reading yesterday. I had a meeting with Social Farms and Gardens, or for Social Farms and Gardens, and we met at Lavender Place Community Gardens, which is right next to the Hexagon in Reading.
What a cute name.
Lavender Place
Lavender
Community Gardens.
Place.
It is, and it's absolutely lovely. And if any of you know Reading, like any city, is quite built up. So this is an oasis of green right next to the Hexagon, and it's actually where the council offices used to be. But apparently they knocked them down to build them elsewhere. But there was something about so much asbestos, or anyway. So there's this community gardens there now.
So they built a community garden on an asbestos-riddled site.
No, I think it was more about the tearing down of the building, that it was going to. It's a meanwhile space, so something is likely to be built there at some point. So it's being used as a community garden in the meanwhile.
Well, it must have been risk assessed.
Oh, of course it was.
If it had
Absolutely.
asbestos, because,
yes,
you
and
know,
it would have had
it's-
to have been removed, properly.
Yes.
But the gardens are absolutely fabulous, and Reading has got quite a diverse community. So there's lots of different beds for different communities, and they garden together. And I was visiting it because Lavender Place Community Gardens won a competition run via Social Farms and Gardens and sponsored by Nature's Path Cereals. For some lovely raised beds which were in place yesterday.
Nature's Path cereals. I've never heard of that.
It's an American company, but they're sort of quite big over here as well. So
lovely.
yeah, and in fact, Social Farms and Gardens, our logo and things were on the packaging during the competition time. So it was great. So there was lovely beds and really diverse mix of produce being grown. But I was fascinated. I've actually emailed Lavender Place Community Gardens about this. There was a almost black runner bean. It was the darkest purple runner bean I've ever seen, and it just looked lovely. And then next door to that was a really, really fat bean in a sort of creamy green pod. And I mean, the bean itself was as big as your thumb. It was a French bean, it wasn't a runner bean. So I've emailed them saying I enjoyed my visit yesterday, and is there any chance I can speak to the group that manage that area? Because I'd love to know what those two types of beans are, because they just looked amazing. Whether the purple bean will stay purple when cooked or not, I don't know.
Yeah, it's annoying when that happens, because you think, oh, I'll cook that, that's going to look lovely on the plate.
Yeah.
And you put them into boiling water, you cook them, and they turn green.
There are a couple that still retain their colour. I can't remember what varieties, but
Well,
there are a
grow
couple.
them, Paul. Grow them.
Well, I'm not sure. I
Grow
like
them.
heritage varieties, so I'm not sure. Yeah, but I'm wondering whether, I think Vivi's the one that Vivi had, the Black Churchill or the Churchill Black runner bean. I don't think, I think that was a completely different bean. I think the seed is black, but I think the pod is green and mottled purple. Yeah, next time we go over, we'll have to have a look
We
and
will.
see how they're going.
Lovely,
Yeah.
Paul.
Or Vivi
Thank
can
you
say.
for that lovely story.
But it
You
was.
were
It was
also going to mention how much you enjoyed the journey
I did.
on the train.
I did. I really enjoyed the journey. I was trying to elongate this to a 3-hour chat, so I was just taking it through in stages. But yeah, I just loved. I love going through on trains, through countryside, through towns on trains. Saw an allotment that I didn't know was where it was, because I used to live near Reading. When I was 18 to 20, I lived 2 years just outside of Reading, when I was managing a pop group, and that was interesting, because we used to go into Reading for certain things, but we used to go into, what's it called? Not Wokingham. We used to go into quite a lot. But yeah, it's interesting to go back to a place that you haven't been to for many a year, and yeah, certainly Reading has changed, but some things are still the same. And of course, with you go through Marlow, and so you see the River Thames. You sort of meander around the River Thames, so it's lovely. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
Looking out the window, watching the countryside go
Things
by.
past.
Yeah.
Lovely, Paul. That's absolutely delicious.
And of course, pulling into stations and looking at people on the platform, people watching. That's also nice.
Good. Good.
So that was it, really.
Oh.
Yeah. That was my Friday, but it took I was there quite a while. I had this goat's cheese salad at quite a nice staff, but I think it was like £10.80 it was like two pieces of French bread with some melted goat's cheese on, 2 blobs of melted goat's cheese.
Cheese.
Ghost cheese. Well, it could have been, because it was hardly visible. And then a small slice of goat's cheese, about half a avocado, and salad leaves.
Lovely.
I thought that was expensive. It was nice, but
Good.
I can see why we don't go out. I mean, you can get better meals at home for, 5% of the price.
Oh, I cannot understand how people afford to eat out like they do. Really. And to be eating, a lot of people eat out most of the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people eat processed food. And it's so expensive unless you're eating cheap food. But even still, Even still, a cheap fast food meal at McDonald's, you could probably cook quite a good meal at home for just the same price to feed more people, probably.
Yeah.
But even so, restaurant eating. I mean, how do people afford that? When we used to go out as a group of people in town for a meal, I mean, it would cost a fortune. And that was like 20 years ago.
I mean, we used to go out, didn't we? Once a month, we would go out together, wouldn't we? We'd go to Green Vert. We used to go to, and a couple of other Pierre Victoire and things like that. And and it was you'd sort of get away with.
What, you mean when we were in Islington?
No, I mean, we used to go to that restaurant next to what used to be the Comedy Theatre. I think it's now who is it? Banter Theatre.
I don't remember any of that.
No, I do. And you used to have a bottle of wine and a main course, and it was like 45 quid.
But we'd go out. I mean, we'd very often go out after a show.
Yeah.
To places like Steph's.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we? With a group of ours. That was good.
Yeah.
We'd occasionally go out for lunch somewhere. But, I mean, that was so long ago I can't remember where we used to go. But wherever it was still expensive then. It must be even more expensive now.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on now.
Moving on.
So we did go out for a lovely walk this week.
We did a new walk.
Went to a new area of the Chilterns, to us, obviously, not a brand new area of the Chilterns.
No, because it's many millennia.
Anyway, called Watlington Hill. Here's a little clip. So we had lovely fun, japes and hoots all over the hill, and it was rather a challenging walk, I have to say.
It was.
We weren't expecting such a challenging walk. The little guidebook that we use describes the walks and tells you whether it's going to be challenging, whether it's uphill. And the walk we chose said, oh, this is rather easy, blah, blah, blah.
Did it use the word meandering upwards or something?
Tell that to my thighs. Because we were making our way up a wooded valley, I suppose you could call it, along a very narrow, overgrown path with grasses and brambles and ferns, goodness knows what. Quite spooky in places.
It was.
And it kept going up and up and up and up. We said to each other, I do hope this comes to an end, or there's a bench quite soon.
Yeah, there wasn't a bench.
No benches, nowhere to sit, well, we could have sat on a log, couldn't we? There were a few strewn logs and the occasional boulder. But we didn't. We carried on, we pushed through the pain, and eventually got to the top, and eventually got back to the car for a good sit down and a bite to eat.
Yeah.
But it was jolly good.
It was lovely. It was lovely.
Nice to see a different view, a different aspect, find a different place, do a bit of discovery, a little bit of a mini adventure, so to speak.
And the thing is, it was only a mile or two away from where we normally go at Aston Rowant and Cowleys Wood. It was a bit further along than we normally go. And the good thing about that, of course, is that if we got there and it had been busy, then we knew that there were two other areas we could go back to.
We don't like a busy car park.
No.
And we don't like too many people.
No.
And there has to be a good view.
Yes.
And there has to be a good parking facility.
Yes.
Those are our criteria.
Preferably not in a town.
No.
Because some of the walks in the book, you start in the middle of, I don't know, middle of a village, a big village. But then you've got to go past the co-op and go past Marks and Spencer's and before you actually begin what we would consider a walk. Because when we're walking, we don't want to walk through, a town.
We don't want to have to navigate and fight with people on the way. Another plane. Where are they all going, Paul?
I think that one's going to New York.
So that was lovely.
But we did know we were going to have to go up because we did go down.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Always remember, if you're on a big walk, if you're going down a hill, you're going to have to come back up at some point. You forget this sometimes.
But the hill we went down was sort of like that.
Yeah, it was.
And the hill that we came back up was like that.
Well,
but obviously it was much longer. Much longer.
Well, no, it wasn't like... It was like that.
No, it wasn't like that.
Well, that's going down, Paul.
No, the downhill
That's
was
going up.
quite sharp, I was
It's
saying.
going up.
And then the uphill was more flatter, but it was still up and long.
You walk to the end of your hand. You don't walk down your hand.
I've never walked on my hands. Oh,
So-
I think I have. You used to do that, didn't you? When you could get down there, you used to put your hands under your feet and walk like that, didn't you? Yeah. Didn't you do that? You didn't do that on wet days in Anglesey whilst you're in the caravan.
No, I mean, I was quite a physical, athletic youngster. I could do cartwheels and flips. Yeah.
I could do cartwheels. I couldn't do flips.
I can-
I could do rolling.
Think I can still do a cartwheel, but
Go
I
on,
wouldn't
do
want.
it then.
I wouldn't want to break my wrists.
Go on,
That's
go
the
on.
only problem. So, let's move on with the show. I've been doing little jobs around the house. If you follow us on Planet Vegetaria and Facebook or Instagram, you'll have seen a few things.
Yesterday he posted something saying, I've done a little bit of polishing, and everybody thought it was lovely.
There was not a little bit of polishing. That was sanding down the coffee table in here. I think it was a lot of hard elbow grease involved in that job, Paul.
Was there?
Yes, there was.
Oh.
Anyway, really seriously, can we get moving on?
Yeah.
Silence, Paul! What have we watched on television this week? You can talk now.
We watched RuPaul's Drag Race.
Now, what an episode.
Mm.
All Stars, Season 6. We have got to the point where the game within the game has been revealed or revealed. Exciting episode. Very exciting. Not going to say anything about it if you haven't got to it. Don't want to spoil it for you.
No.
But really, really good.
But it's interesting
Really
because
good.
there's a queen in it who has sort of had through what she says and how she acts, quite a sort of challenging, tough time, and you haven't necessarily warmed to her, and that sort of spins on its head, doesn't it? Don't you think?
I don't know who you're talking about. Oh, right. Well, yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on.
We watched Nicola Walker's new series,
Annika. Set in Scotland.
Scotland.
And it's the story of a marine detective, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's really different.
Yeah.
Really different for a cop show.
Yeah.
And of course, Nicola Walker is really good.
One of our favourite actresses.
Yeah, I think she's brilliant. And so, well worth a watch. You might be quite surprised at the difference. Not going to say anything about that, but yeah, it's got a few, not twists, how can I put it?
Quirks.
Yeah, it's quirky. Quirky's good. What else, Paul?
And then we watched Endeavour.
An old episode of Endeavour, not the new
episode.
season.
No, which we're very much looking forward to.
Yeah, I am actually, because I'm bored with all the old ones.
No,
now.
I really like rewatching them, and Sean Evans of course is great, and he's in a new BBC series that starts on the last Sunday of August, so in a week's time. Vigil. He's in that one, which is about a murder that happens or a death that happens on a submarine.
Oh.
He's and it's got the Scott and Bailey actress in it
I
that
don't
we like.
like submarine shows.
You don't like that enclosed thing, no? Lots of water.
Well, enclosed underwater. No, I don't think so, ever.
No.
Professor T, we continued with.
Yeah, liked that last episode.
Very good, very good. And we continue watching Pose, which we're almost at the end of. It's a little bit heavy, I'm finding.
I'm loving it.
I know you are.
I'm loving it.
I do like it, but I have to say I'm not enjoying it as much as the previous seasons. I'm finding it too focused on really sad things.
Well, I think that was a period of that time, wasn't it?
Well, it was, I know, but I don't know. I don't tend to get off on that.
No, I have to say I've had tears every single episode so
I
far.
haven't.
No,
I haven't. I think, for me, some of the scenes seem just that little bit too fake.
Mm-hmm.
They've just gone... They're kind of hovering on the border between real glamorous reality and fantasy. So, for example, you know, in a musical, when people break into song, it's very obvious that it's a soundtrack. You know, and it goes into that sort of fantasy where people break into song and start dancing and singing in reality. But there's a very clear line. You know, like when you watch Grease, you can tell, you know, the voices have got reverb on them and it's all very glossy. And, it, you know, you can tell you're in a fantasy scenario. Pose kind of tries to do that at certain points. But it's not meant to be fantasy, it's meant to be reality. But I'm not sure whether it does it that well.
It works for me.
I know it works for you and it works for lots of other people. It works for me to a certain degree, but I'm not willing to suspend my disbelief, shall we say.
No.
Yeah, and I don't know.
How many episodes we got? I think we've only got 1 or 2 left now.
Yeah, I've not enjoyed it as much, put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know why. I think maybe I've not been in the mood.
Maybe.
It. There's a lot of death in this season, and there's a lot of
stress in the world at the moment.
Yeah, and I kind of think to enjoy something fantastical is probably my desire at the moment. I'd quite like to watch a what are they called? You know, a Studio Ghibli.
Well, there's plenty.
I'd like to watch one of those again.
And things.
Because I feel as though I need to be taken out of myself.
Yeah.
Because entertainment, when you really need entertainment, when you're really craving fantasy, and I don't crave fantasy that much. I mean, I love a good police drama. But occasionally, and I'm feeling that now, I need just a couple of hours to be taken away somewhere, divorced from this god-awful world. Really, we're not going to go there, we're not going to talk about current affairs, but we have to acknowledge that there's some pretty awful things happening at the moment.
Absolutely.
And that's a whole other video. Seriously, I could say a lot, but I'm not going to.
No.
But we're just acknowledging that. We don't live in a bubble. Guess that's what we're saying, you know.
And we've enjoyed Countdown continuing
Yes.
as well. I mean, I know we say it every week at the moment, but just love Anne Robinson.
Brilliant.
Really,
really
you know,
enjoyable.
The interaction with many of the contestants is just great.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's our week on TV.
And we watched a few Murder, She Wrote as well.
Yeah, of course, that's our lunchtime fare. As you know already, we've said it week after week after week. I'm getting bored with that now. We're going to need to do a song and dance number next week.
That will be fun.
Can you imagine? Can you just imagine?
No,
Anyway,
I can't.
just to finish, because it's time to go now.
It's raining.
Yes, it's raining now. August. We've got a word of the week this week again. I like this word. I know this word. I came across it. It's fairly easy. You probably know it. But I like this word. Redolent.
Redolent.
Or redolent.
Is that something that is no longer required?
No? No, that's redundant.
Redundant, isn't it? Yeah, I'm thinking if it was...
Redolent or redolent. Redolent.
Dolent. Oh, I don't know this word.
It actually has two meanings.
Oh, well, that's cheating then.
Sort of.
Right. Is it to... Oh.
Alexa, what's my notification?
One new notification from Amazon Shopping. For Richard, a shipment is due to arrive today.
That's my laundry liquid.
Oh, right, okay. Is it doing something again even though it's not worked the first time?
No. But I'll give you an example.
Is it continually doing something that isn't actually going to be beneficial to anyone?
When my laundry liquid arrives and I put the washing machine on, the utility room will be redolent of orange blossom.
So it's...
Fragrance. Fragrance. And it's actually when a room is sort of infused in that fragrance.
Right, okay.
Redolent, yeah. But it also means, what was the other meaning? Oh yeah, evocative as well.
Right. Oh, I think I know it in that sense.
But its usual
Yes.
meaning is to do with fragrance or aroma.
Yes, I think the evocative one I have seen I've read in
Evocative
books.
or suggestive of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that word. I think it's a lovely word. It's one of those quite pretty words, I find.
I think I've just finished a book. Can't remember what the title was and who wrote it. Interestingly, it was about a marine detective on the Thames. Isn't that odd? Coincidentally, with Annika. But I think that word. I think redolent was the smell of the Thames. I think there was something about salty water, and it was redolent of the Thames. That's how it was used.
There you go. Lovely, Paul. Thank you very much for all your lovely contributions this week.
That's all right. Were they lots of lovely ones?
Yes, they were all extremely interesting.
So what are we doing now? It's raining. I thought I was going to get to the plot today.
No.
I need to get to the plot today, so I will be. But I don't think I'm going to get the job done that I thought I was going to get done.
We're saying goodbye now.
I wonder if the broad beans have germinated.
We're saying goodbye now. Goodbye. Thank you so much. Thank you, bloody. Thank you for watching. Do join us again very soon for more lovely things.
And another week of Sunday Chat.
Thank you.
I got that in a few times today.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.